candidate. Now, the candidate should be busy all the time. The most frustrating experiences I've ever had is when the campaign or the candidate is sitting in the campaign office, and there's the volunteers going out with their brochures while the campaign manager sees them off. No. Only for a couple of minutes. The candidate should be out doing something all the time. They should be connecting with the community. In some cases, before they're successful, they might be working. So, there's some of that too, that there has to be some flexibility. But in my mind, and I mean, I learned this from the New Democrats in the 80s, is go out and talk to the people. And again, if you're afraid of doing that, or if you're not focusing on that as a campaign team, there's something wrong, because the candidate is the one that's going to win the election, and it's for their job. I mean, I don't expect other people to go to work for me, and do my job, and then I say thanks. I hope that was a good day for you. That's not how it works. So, it has to be really clear about what the roles are, and the candidate's role is to be out connecting with people. And you can keep them as busy or not, and that has to be negotiated. And I've worked as the candidate manager within a campaign, and it's really important because you also don't want to work people to death. So by 3 days before the election, they're dead. That's not a good thing either. And again, it's all about community support, so that's really important. Volunteers, you want as many as you can to do lots of different jobs. If you don't have a lot of money, you want them delivering flyers. If you're fiscally able, you can put them in the mail. If you're not going to do anything with those, if people aren't going to talk to neighbors or talk to people as they're delivering them, you might as well put them in the mail. But if people have that chance on a Saturday afternoon to be walking down the street, you're going to get a chance to talk to people. So when you're choosing volunteers for that kind of job, make sure that they're people that can relay your message. You always want to have volunteer jobs that are one-shot jobs, because lots of people are going to come for one shift and then be gone and never come back, so you don't want to have a mess left behind. With volunteers, you give them constant thanks every time they come in, every time they leave. Really basic stuff, but really important. And you always have one volunteer recognition event during the campaign. Usually halfway, mobilizing people, getting people motivated. Hopefully they're motivated by you. Media is always a big one, and again, depending who's running, how it's going, whether or not you're going to get media is really dependent on a lot of factors that you don't have control over. Never do a media release during an election if you have nothing to say. And really don't have a news conference then. Because if you make the media mad by wasting their time during an election, you're never going to get any media ever again in your life. So, and if you're going to do something, if you really do have something big to say, pick a photo op, pick something interesting for them. Don't just be a talking head. There's lots of things that, lots of ways that you can reach them. Only go door knocking, totally set it up if you go door knocking with the media, because I've known lots of people, again, a bit of experience working in the Democrats, where you go to the door and you're like, okay, thanks for I think you like us, what do you think? Don't ever go with the media unless you've really got it all figured out. And I know those things are like those planned things that you're not supposed to do, totally do them. It's well worth your while. And find someone who has some media savvy to talk to the media if the candidate isn't. Negotiate with the candidate if anyone else can represent them. At the municipal level, I wouldn't suggest that, but make sure the person who talks to the media is someone who has some savvy and again understands your message as a candidate or the message of the campaign. Voter contact, clear message, many times in the old days. But before websites, we got 3 brochures out over the course of a month. That's a lot of work because you're sort of recreating things that you can kind of keep a template, but it's worth doing if you can. Now, again, I don't know the impact of what websites, but I think we make a lot of assumptions about people that have access. It's a big world out there, and it's all funny when I think we're going to go to a public library to look you up, but probably not. So, I think you need to do the work to get to them. I think that still remains really important. And then the ultimate issue is how you get people to vote. And again, you can bring people out. Some people, I've worked on lots of election day campaigns, but certainly at the municipal level, it's a lot harder to do. You don't do the same kind of voter tracking. There's sort of a complex system you can do within party politics that you probably wouldn't recreate. So that remains the challenge. And we know municipally people don't vote, so you need to get your people to vote. That ultimately is what it comes down to. And, you know, the other, I guess, the other sort of common sense, couple of other things I'll say and then I'll close is just if things start to get kind of nasty, because, you know, obviously politics can be that way. If things start to get nasty, don't play. I worked on a campaign once where people destroyed signs. They destroyed all of our large signs, like thousands of dollars worth of large signs. And it started to get on that nasty curve, and we just didn't play. We just didn't respond, it's like it's a big drag, but we'll start over. And that's what we did. So you just never want to get into any of that stuff, although it can be very frustrating. And the other thing is, how could I forget? Have fun. You know, if you're not doing it for fun, I don't know about like if you're running, how really fun it is. Like I like to pretend it's like always fun, but I think it can be, and I think it has to be. And if you know, if you like meeting people and talking about things that you care about, hopefully that's where it comes from. And I hope that many of you will get involved at some level, because it's absolutely essential, and I think it really is our responsibility.